So it's the biggest of its kind in New Jersey and really the metro area. It's about a 25,000 square foot warehouse, essentially, of anything you could ever want to make anything. We are an R1 research facility, so that means that we are one of only 3 in New Jersey and less than 200 in the whole country. So in terms of New Jersey, the company we keep there is Rutgers, New Brunswick, and Princeton. So that's something we're very proud of
Yeah.
to be in that company. If you get a score of around a 1250 or higher, send it in to us. Okay. If it's below a 1250, that can stay a secret. We don't have to know. With NJIT, the amount that you put in, you end up making back much more quickly than many other universities in the US. And that also is largely in part due to our location, right? The opportunities that you're exposed to in the New York City metro area for the price point that you are paying for an NJIT education, you really can't compare that. NJIT coursework particularly, and really most US universities, you need to be consistent. Right? You need to go to classes consistently. You need to seek help from your professors consistently if that's what you need. Go to tutoring services, really use the resources that are available to you. And at the end of the day, AI is not going to take those jobs. You still need humans for that to work, and you need humans for AI to work too, right? In
Yes.
order to work, accurately. I think we've all had the experience at this point with AI that it can be underwhelming sometimes, right? It doesn't do
Correct.
exactly what we want it to do. So ultimately, humans are going to be needed to continue this journey anyway.
Hi, we are joined today by Erica Rolek. She is an international admission director for New Jersey Institute of Technology. It's a STEM university in US and it is 20 minutes from New York City. She is working in this designation since last 3 years to working with students to understand their profiles, to how to guide them for a right admission in NJIT. She is originally from New Jersey. She has a deep knowledge about the city and the university, and she's basically can explain the opportunities for students after studying at NJIT, opportunities in New York City and in and around the places. So she can give a on-ground experience for the student, on-ground opportunities for the students and parents who are worried about what next, how to prepare their education in US. And what makes this episode or this visit of her is very special is she is visiting India. In this visit, she also want to deepen her ties with Indian students and parents, along with the counselors who are guiding the students. In today's conversation, we will be exploring the complete knowledge about NJIT and opportunities about US for their higher education. Erika, welcome to the show.
Thank you very
So,
much.
yeah, can you tell me your journey, how it has been at NJIT and your professional career?
Yeah, certainly. So I started at NJIT. This June will be 3 years. I'll make my
Super.
3-year anniversary. So it's actually my first time in, traditional American higher education. But I've always been very passionate about education and going international, traveling internationally. So this being the assistant director, one of the assistant directors of
Yeah.
international recruitment here at NJIT has kind of been a really great combination of all my interests. Um, Before this, actually, I lived and worked in Costa Rica for almost 5 years. I was teaching English there, so this has definitely been a different take on international education,
Correct.
but it felt like the next right step for me.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy to, be back in my home state, born and raised in New Jersey. So it all kind of took together a lot of my interests and my background kind of into one job.
Yes, home is always special.
Yes.
Okay. So, how are you enjoying the international recruitment, traveling across the globe?
It's been such an amazing experience. I've gone to countries that maybe I would have never made it there or not for a very long time. So I feel very fortunate to have this job that, again, kind of combines a lot of my interests. I will say this trip in particular has been very busy. So I haven't really had the opportunity to do quite as much exploring or kind of seeing the country as I would normally like to. I've been to, I believe, the 6 cities in the last 7 days. So
Okay.
it's been very, very busy, but I feel very fortunate. I've met a lot of amazing people, eaten a lot of amazing food.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a
We are
great,
special for food.
yes, definitely. So it's been, yeah, a really awesome
Yeah.
experience. I feel very, very fortunate.
Is it first time to visit India?
I was here last year for only about 3 days. So
Okay.
this is my first real, extensive trip here. I'll be here for about 2 weeks this time.
Okay. So, how was your experience in talking to Indian students?
Yeah, so Indian students are very focused, right? A lot of the time, they come up to me with very specific questions. They already have an idea in mind of what they would like to study. They understand how what they've studied previously connects to what they're looking to study. And so I always enjoy that aspect of it. They're coming in with, even if they haven't heard of NJIT particularly in the past, they know what kind of institution they're looking to attend. And so once I speak more about NJIT, a lot of the time that tends to click for the students. But in general, I feel like Indian students specifically are very aware of their background and what they would like to do in the future. And that always makes, honestly, my job a little bit easier.
So, what makes NJIT as a good STEM related university?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of different reasons there. So we are a public polytechnic institute in New Jersey. So that means that almost all of our programs are STEM designated programs, which of course goes hand in hand. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about, OPT opportunities, but if it's a STEM designated program, students can work for up to 3 years after graduation. So that's a huge opportunity for students. I would also say just the hands-on learning aspect of, being a polytechnic institute really makes us stand out. So, just kind of an example of that, we have what's called the maker space, which I like to call a playground for
Okay.
engineers. So, it's the biggest of its kind in New Jersey and really the metro area. It's about a 25,000 square foot warehouse, essentially, of anything you could ever want to make anything. So, it's open to all students, not just engineers, but in there, 3D printers, laser cutters, carpentry equipment, metalworking equipment. So, I think that's just a good reflection of kind of how hands on we really are.
So, what are the main subjects a student look for in at NJIT?
Yeah, so I would say probably among our most popular majors or students that are majors that the students apply to the most would be computer science, of course, computer science, data science, computer engineering. We also have a very popular architecture
Oh,
program.
nice.
Really, any kind of engineering you could
Mhm.
think of, civil, mechanical, industrial. So programs like that, I think they are among the most popular and the ones that come to mind. But I would say something that I think maybe gets overlooked or something that people don't really think of when it comes to an institute of technology is our business programs. So those are growing in popularity, both at the undergrad and graduate level, and they are also STEM designated, which really makes us stand out. And of course, due to the location that we have, students have a
Correct.
lot of opportunities to explore that.
So, how good is NJIT as a destination for entrepreneurial opportunities?
Yeah, it's an amazing area. We very much encourage that within the classroom. And also our location again outside of the classroom makes it very easy to explore that. So being so close to New York City, we're about a 25-minute train ride from New York City. So that takes you right into Wall Street. So if you're
Yeah.
interested in doing that,
Yes.
not really a better place for entrepreneurs there.
Yeah.
But we also work very closely with institutions really right across the street. We have what's called NJII, New Jersey Innovation Institute,
Oh.
we really encourage students to dig into those ideas, anything that they could possibly, want to brainstorm either with each other or professionals in the area. We really give students that opportunity.
So, how NJIT balances between academics, research, and industry exposure?
Yeah, yeah. So I think that that's something that we do really well, all three of those things. Again, largely in part due to our location, and research in particular is something that we really pride ourselves on. We are an R1 research facility, so that means that we are one of only three in New Jersey, and less than 200 in the whole country. So in terms of New Jersey, the company we keep there is Rutgers, New Brunswick, and Princeton. So that's something we're very proud of
Yeah.
to be in that company. So that just
Correct.
goes to show how important research is to us.
Mm.
And something else with that, particularly for any undergraduate students listening, I think when you think of research for at a university level, you think master students and PhD students. And of course, our students at those levels do conduct a lot of research. But at NJIT, students as early as their first year of bachelor's degree could also get involved in research. So we very much promote students investigating and going into, following what they really want to pursue. And those opportunities are there for them. They just have to ask. If that research isn't already getting done, they can definitely get it started.
So, can any student, if they have any idea, can they approach a professor for them to do a research or getting into start of a research? Just an idea to a concept. The whole journey will the institute and the professor supports them.
Yes, definitely. So that again, it just kind of goes hand in hand with what I was just mentioning. That is a really big part of our identity. Having students advocate for themselves, which I think is something that Indian students do very well, as well as, that kind of self-advocacy. But yes, our professors are very open to any ideas that students may have. We have over 100 research labs or institutes either on or near our campus. So there's some type of research happening all the time that is student driven.
So, how about the opportunities for scholarships at NJIT or in general in you when the student plans to study in US?
Yeah, so every university does things a little bit differently. I would say at NJIT, I think we are quite generous when it comes to that. So for undergraduate students, you're automatically considered for up to $25,000 a year
Great.
based on GPA, particularly math and science GPA. And of course, that goes
Yeah.
closely with what you're looking to study, and SAT scores. So I will say we are SAT optional, SAT and ACT optional. So if that's not an area of strength for you, you don't have to worry about submitting those scores.
Mhm.
I always think, and my team always says, it's a good idea to take the test and just see how you
Yes.
do. You might surprise yourself, right?
Yes.
So if you get a score of around a 1250 or higher, send it in to us. Okay. If it's below a 1250, that can stay a secret. We don't have to know. But yeah, around a 1250 or higher is always a great score, and that could also help you as far as scholarships go. I will also say at the undergraduate level, we do offer what's called the Albert Dorman Honors College.
Mhm.
So this is a highly competitive program for students that really enjoy a challenge, that have challenged themselves throughout high school and are looking to continue that throughout their university experience. Um, to give you an idea of just how competitive we're talking, the incoming class of 2025, I believe there was a 4% acceptance rate. So we are really looking for kind of the best of the best,
Quality.
and students who are willing to put in that work, and looking for very well-rounded students, successful students in academia and also outside of the classroom. The SAT is required for those students, and the average is around a 1400 or 1450.
Okay.
And in terms of graduate scholarships, we do offer up to $10,000 a year
Oh, nice.
based on GPA and
GPA.
again, GRE scores, which are optional for all programs. And for both grad and undergrad, if you maintain a GPA of a 3.0 or above, you keep that
Mhm.
scholarship year over year.
Okay, they can continue the rollover kind of a thing. Okay. So, what about any scholarship for management graduates, management students like business or finance or whatever?
Yep, it would be the same. So
Same.
all graduate students are automatically considered, and that's the nice thing too. There's no need for additional applications or paperwork. It's just by submitting your application that also puts you in the running for scholarships as well, from our admissions office.
Okay. So, will a student gets admission if they have a 3-year graduation at NJIT?
So if a student has attended a 3-year university here in India, and it is a score of an NAAC grade
NAC.
of an A or higher, we accept a 3-year degree. If it's below that, we would need a transcript evaluation.
Okay. So, is it a WES or something
Can
else?
be a WES. I also know a study group can assist with that as well.
Okay.
So yeah, we accept any WES or NACE's approved evaluation.
Okay. So, the university should be in a NAC A plus or a grade university. So, you'll accept the
Correct.
3-year graduation because that is where students has a very cautious answer,
hmm
and most of the counselors or consultant they counter, they say you're not eligible. So it's a straight cut, so they don't guide them on understanding why they are not eligible.
hmm
So yeah, that's it. So which are the courses that you suggest for us to Indian students to choose at NJIT?
That's really a matter of interest. I think something that students can get a little bit in their heads about is kind of, what will they get very focused on what will get me a job, or what will allow me to make money. And those are very valid concerns, or, reasons to want to pursue something. What I've seen, both from personal experience and also just working with students, is if you are, signing up for something or want to major in something just for the money or for, the job opportunities after, the studying itself is going to be difficult if it's something you're not particularly interested in. So I would say the first thing to do would be really think about what you want, right? What you want to study, what you want to do on day in, day out basis. And then once you kind of have that idea, even if it's a couple different ideas, just having kind of somewhere to start is a really good, it's a really good place to be, right? right? So once you have that idea, so for example, we have students who have studied computer science in undergraduate, and they think maybe I want to get into the business side of things more. So that's where the MBA program or the Master's in Management program would be a really good fit for those students because, as I mentioned earlier, they are also STEM designated. So students would be able to continue in their computer science field or a more tech focused field while also transitioning into a more business side of things. So I think the biggest thing would be, yeah, think about what you want and what you want to kind of do day after day and see if any of our programs fit. And for the most part, you will find something.
Should a student decide on going abroad basic on ROI or return on investment, or should they look of a higher education abroad on a quality of education?
Both. I think both are very, very important. And luckily, again, something NJIT does very well. So we have been in the top 2% for return on investment for quite a few years now. So basically just means we understand that an education in the United States is not cheap, right? That's not something that we claim, right? It's
Yes.
really anywhere in the US. It is an investment. However, with NJIT, the amount that you put in, you end up making back much more quickly than many other universities in the US. And that also is largely in part due to our location, right? The opportunities that you're exposed to in the New York City metro area, for the price point that you are getting paying for an NJIT education, you really can't compare that. And then on top of it, to go to your other point of the academics, we also have that going for us. We have extremely strong academics, very strong research base. So it's really kind of a perfect mesh of both worlds there.
Okay, why should a student choose US or other destinations?
Yeah, so I mean, again, there's a lot to think about, right? So if you start kind of from square one, it can be an overwhelming process, and I think that's where you guys as agents or counselors come in to kind of help students narrow their focus. First thing I think for students to think about is where you want to be. That would really cut things down entirely. I know the U.S. has always been a very popular destination for students, and there are other European universities. There are a lot of different choices. So I would say first off, think about where in the world you want to be. If you decide that's the US, think about where in the US, right? The US is a very large country.
Yes.
And I think something that students don't think about a lot of the time is the climate.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just think United States. I've had students come to me and say, I'm happy to go to New Jersey. I have family that lives in Texas. Those are not near each other, right? The US is a very large country,
Yeah.
and you need to keep that in mind, both for climate, like weather-wise, if you would like to experience somewhere with 4 seasons, the New
Correct.
York, New Jersey area is a great place to be. So if you've narrowed it down that way, that's huge. And then next would be, yeah, the academics, if you're interested in doing research, and really the opportunities that are available to you after graduation or even throughout your process, right, for CPT, different co-op and internship opportunities. That's all things to keep in mind that will eventually kind of funnel you into at least down to a few colleges and not the 4,000 that are available to you in the US.
So, what is that one quality or a good qualities that Indian students stand out in comparison with other country students?
Yeah. So I think I already mentioned it, but I would say the self-advocacy that Indian students have, they are very willing to ask questions. They are very willing to attend different webinars and things that we have in order to learn more about the university. They do their own research. They come to us with very thoughtful questions, and that's something that always makes our lives easier as admissions counselors.
Do you see any common strengths in Indian students?
I would say, I mean, there is a very large, STEM focus, I think, in this country in general. So students coming to us with the desire to continue their STEM education, it just makes sense, right? Those things work very well together. It's really what we're looking for. So the students that are ready, that are coming prepared with an undergraduate education, whether it's in electronics, engineering, computer science, students are coming with very strong backgrounds and classes that our faculty is really looking for them to start out with.
How good is US for a student who has a background of agricultural engineering?
That would be kind of go back perfectly to what I was just mentioning, in terms of location, right? So I've had students come speak with me about, studying agriculture at NJIT. We're in the largest city in New Jersey, right outside of New York City. We do not have a very large agricultural base, right?
Yeah.
If you're interested in pursuing that, looking at your more Texas-based universities, Midwestern universities would just be a much better fit. So I think looking into or having, a counselor, an agent assist you with looking into areas of the world, areas of the US where that would just make more sense geographically,
Yeah.
that's what you need to do.
What are the typical challenges that Indian students face when applying or transitioning to US?
So I think one of the biggest things that has come back to us in the admissions office is Indian students can tend, I don't want to generalize, but and tend to think, if they don't go to classes multiple times and then just study very hard for the exams, it'll be fine. NJIT coursework particularly, and really most US universities, you need to be consistent, right? You need to go to classes consistently. You need to seek help from your professors consistently if that's what you need. Go to tutoring services, really use the resources that are available to you. But mostly it's making sure that you are attending courses, getting that help you need, and not waiting till the last minute to cram for an exam.
Do you suggest for an Indian student to get in touch with the previous senior students, or you want them to approach as a first mover style?
I mean, think there's benefits to both. I would say, of course, for students who maybe this is their first time even leaving the country, right? Like there's a lot that goes into it. Um, yeah, speaking with students who have already done it would be a huge benefit, especially when it comes to, where did you live, right? Did you live with roommates? Where was there a particular area that you think would be a good idea for, a first time student in the area? So I think that there's huge benefits to speaking with other students. I think something just important to keep in mind is someone else's experience is not going to be your experience. So take everything they say and with a grain of salt, realize that they have gone through it and they've had their own experiences, be them, positive or negative, but realize you're going to go in and have your own.
Yeah, it's always consider the feedback, decide on your own.
Exactly.
Means generally, every university look for grades, scores, as you mentioned, SAT or GRE. Does in does NJIT looks beyond this? What other things that NJIT looks beyond grades and test scores while giving the admissions?
Sure. So I would say for master students, and especially when it comes to scholarships, they are merit based. So we are looking at your GPA and your GRE scores as kind of the highlight, right, in order to determine the scholarship there. For undergraduate students, I think that the extracurriculars or what you're doing outside of your high school experience, that's where it stands out more, especially if you're looking to be an honors student. Anyone applying again to the Albert Dorman Honors College, they're going to take into consideration, of course, your overall GPA, your SAT scores, and really what you've done to kind of flourish and grow outside of the classroom as well. And we know that, not everybody is going to, we don't expect, and we actually don't want you to just be classes and go home. Right. We
Correct.
want you to have that experience. And that also makes your transition into life at NJIT a little bit easier. You're able to assimilate, make more friends from different areas of the world. So yeah, having that well-rounded experience, even if it's not something we look at for scholarships, let's say, and especially, of course, at the master's level, it's definitely something that will make your own life much easier, and your experience more enjoyable.
So, what is the roadmap for a student who is entered NJIT or in general when they enter US for their higher education? Like you consider as a master student.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, from the very beginning, of course, they're going to be working with agent, a consultant, if they want to apply on their own. They'll just follow that application process. If they go through all the right steps, I would say the first thing in terms of making sure it's as smooth as possible is making sure that we have all of the correct information for the application. That just makes things much more smooth for us. So, in terms of we would need the transcripts, English proficiency test scores. We might get into that a little bit later, but just making sure that you're following that checklist. We'll go through your application process. We'll go through your application, make sure that we have everything that we need. Try to get to your answer back as soon as possible within a week or two. Once you reach that point, you'll be able to you'll get a lot of different emails from us all the time. First step is $500 enrollment deposit. Of course, all universities kind of do this differently. At NJIT, it's a $500 deposit to really start your process, right? To be able to request your I-20, make your UCAD or your email, your NJIT email with us, things
Correct.
like that. Meet with your academic advisor in order to register for classes. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. Something that I have been pointing out with everyone I've spoken with is you're not doing any of this by yourself, right? So a lot of this can seem scary, especially if you've never left the country before. That's your first time studying abroad, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot that goes into it. At no point are you doing this alone. Okay. So you have, your counselor, right, with you, and then you have your admissions counselor, the Office of Global Initiatives, who helps you with your I-20 process and the visa process, your academic advisor for choosing classes. So there's someone there to assist you every step of the way. So now let's say, you've studied for a year, you can start your CPT process, that again, Office of Global Initiatives and Career Development Services can help you with. And then right? Before you know it, it's time for graduation, right? OPT. So before you graduate, you would, speak with the Office of Global Initiatives, do all of that required paperwork, and look for those different opportunities. And again, since most of our programs are STEM designated programs, if you are in one of those, you could have up to 3 years of OPT. And again, the kind of the world is your oyster there, in terms of the opportunities that are available to you and the employers that come to us to speak with our students.
Okay. So, what is the difference between this STEM designated program and a non-STEM designated programs?
Sure. So again, as a Polytechnic institute, I think it's above 96% or so of our programs are STEM designated. The small handful of ones that we have that are not, I believe, are, healthcare systems management. Honestly, a lot don't even come to mind just because almost all of them are STEM designated.
Yeah.
So this just means that, so if you're in a non-STEM designated program, you're eligible for 1 year of OPT, optional practical training. If you are in a STEM designated program, it would be 3 years. And this is the case at universities across the US. This isn't just, an NJIT thing. So if you are in that 3 year STEM OPT, our Office of Global Initiatives will kind of go with you every step of the way to make sure you're following all the correct paperwork, and you're finding those opportunities.
So, what is the student diversity at NJIT?
Sure, that's actually one of my favorite parts. It's one of my favorite parts of the campus and one of my favorite parts of New Jersey and the New York City metro area in general is how diverse it is.
Correct.
Um, it is one of the most diverse places in the world, and I think NJIT is a nice little reflection of that. So we have almost 2,000 international students
Nice.
from around 70 to 80 different countries.
Wow, super.
So students are going to be interacting with people from truly all over the world, and just have a little, taste of that diversity within the campus. And of course, you step outside of the campus, and all of that is very available to you as well. This means that there's a reflection of all different cultures, languages, food.
Yeah.
Within, if not walking distance to NJIT, then a train right away. You can find absolutely anything you want in the New York City area.
Yes.
So if you get a little bit homesick, right, or you're missing a particular type of food,
Yeah.
you'll definitely be able to find it very easily in our area.
Okay. So, by considering like 5 to 10 years of next a decade, so which are the courses that you suggest for a student to choose by considering US as a destination?
Sure. I mean, no one could predict the future, right?
Yeah.
But I would say, something that we're seeing take off, is AI, right? The AI train has left the station and it's not stopping, right, for
Yeah.
anyone. So I think NJIT has done a really good job of innovating, right, and realizing that this is the case and kind of being at the forefront of that. So we've actually even created a new major called Business with AI, for undergraduate students starting this fall. So I think that's a good point to show that NJT, we're not falling behind at all, right?
Correct.
And we're not only just keeping up, we're trying to be at the front of this. So I'd say, anything AI related, of course, all types of engineering. There's always going to be a need for that. And within our architecture program, again, a lot of this falls back into where we are. So anything that you're looking to do, in terms of work, you'll be able to find it within our area. So I would also say what your interest is very, very important, right? You're not going to be able to stick with something for very long if you're not thoroughly interested in it.
Mm.
So I would say, again, start there, and then the opportunities will, reveal themselves to you.
Do you think again the mechanical will come into the boom or automobile or a space engineering?
That's a great question. I hope so.
Yeah,
We
because AI
have
takes over so many
right.
software jobs
Right. So
if
in terms of the
things change.
software, yeah, I would say in terms of, because mechanical engineering, industrial engineering, all those kind of majors are still very popular. And
Yes.
at the end of the day, AI is not going to take those
Yeah.
jobs. You still need humans, for that to work, and you need humans for AI to work too, right? In
Yes.
order to work, accurately. I think we've all had the experience at this point with AI that it's can be underwhelming sometimes, right? It doesn't
Correct.
do exactly what we want it to do. So ultimately, humans are going to be needed to continue this journey anyway.
Okay. So, which are the states, or particularly based on the good for education, which states are good for education in
Um,
US?
of course, I would be partial to New Jersey.
Yeah.
We have many universities within New Jersey itself, and the actually where we are, our location is called University Heights because there are 3 to 4 really universities all within walking distance of each other. So truly across the street from our campus is Rutgers Newark. Right next to us is the county college. So there's at any given day when classes are in session around 30,000 students in the area. So it's a lot of different ideas, students from different campuses interact, and we also work with those campuses on different projects. So I would say, again, as I've said multiple times already, I'm sorry for repeating myself so much, but the location is huge. So, and of course, the college life or the university life in New York City, you have a ton of different opportunities there as well. So I would say, the New York, New Jersey area would be a solid choice for diversity, right? Being exposed to people from all over the world for the variety of programs that are available to you. And if you're looking for kind of a 4 seasons, having that experience, a summer, winter, fall,
Yeah.
spring experience, which I know might be a little bit different for different students coming from India, that's a huge part of it too. So partial to the Northeast,
Yeah.
and that's where some of the best universities really in the world are.
Okay. So, which are the best states to look for when they think of manufacturing?
From manufacturing, again, I would say this would be a really good conversation to have with your counselor, like for students to have with their counselors, to dig into that and kind of see where, which university, right, would be the best for that. So that really depends. Think of everything what I was just mentioning.
So, do you see any mistakes that Indian students do after arrival to US?
Okay. I would say something to keep in mind, just based on what I've seen, would just be to remain open minded, right? And I think being in an area maybe for the first time with people from so many different parts of the world, I think students, and this isn't just Indian students, I think this is kind of just human behavior. You tend to go towards people who are from your background, right? People who understand your ethnic background, your culture, your language, of course. I think that's just human, that's natural to do. But I think, especially if you're going to find yourself in a location as diverse as New Jersey and as diverse as NJIT, putting yourself out there and allowing yourself to try new things, meet new people, even learn a few words of a new language. I think that that would really help elevate your experience. So I would say, of course, like when you first get started, if you want to, make some friends that are from your area, that's great. But allow yourself to kind of to be exposed to other people and to learn a few things and meet some folks from a different background.
Okay. Difference between interacting with the students or virtual interactions versus in-person interactions. What do you see the differences?
Mhm. I would say in terms of, being in person, there's nothing like
Yeah.
it, right? You're able to, and I think more so for the students, I would be curious to hear the student response to that question, because I think a lot of the time, when they are emailing us or calling us, we kind of seem imaginary in a way, or right, like there's not a real person on
Correct.
the other end of that email. But we're there, right? We're the ones responding to you, we're the ones answering the phone. But I think us being in person for them kind of makes it seem more real, right? Like these opportunities are more real, they're more accessible to them. So I think that's why doing things like this is important, to show the students that there are going to be people there that they will recognize once they get to the campus, and we are there for them. So of course, in the world that we're in, virtual meetings are unavoidable, right? And they make things move a little bit quicker. But I think when the opportunity presents itself to be in person, I think it's beneficial for both parties.
So, how you visit city by city or you visit country to country? So, what kind of feedback that you get from a students that you carry back to your NJIT?
I mean, it depends on, I think the maybe the university where I am. I try to get an idea of what the student is looking to study and really what they're looking to do. And if it turns out that, they're looking to do agriculture, for example, I'm not going to tell them that NJIT is a great place to do that, right? Because it's not. I think ultimately a lot of people that are in my position are kind of in this world. What we want for the students is for them to be happy and successful. And that's not always at our particular university, right? If a student's coming up to me saying, I'm very passionate about computer science and I would love to get my master's, maybe even my PhD, is your university a good place for that? Yes, of course. And I mean that, right? For all the reasons that I've already mentioned. So I think students, what I like to take back with me from students is just getting an idea of kind of in general what they're interested in studying, seeing what kind of that pattern is, and reporting back to, what would be a good place for us to continue going back to.
So, what are your expectations from any student who applies NJIT?
Sure. So I'll be expecting students to be looking for a solid STEM education coming from a STEM background, willing to work, right? They need to know that these classes are not easy, right? They are challenging courses, but also they need to know and be willing to put in the work to use those resources that are available to them. Students need to be diligent, they need to be consistent, as I've mentioned before, and they need to be, again, open minded to the opportunities that are available to them.
Okay, so for example, I have joined NJIT. I am pursuing the master course at NJIT or a undergraduate at NJIT. So I'm at the verge of completion of my education. So what kind of support to develop my career NJIT provides as a platform?
Yeah, so we have a whole office called Career Development Services, otherwise known as CDS, and their whole purpose is to make sure that students are feeling comfortable with the job search process. So, whether it's actually navigating the job market that's changing all the time, preparing them for interviews, right, doing mock interviews, sprucing up their resume, making sure that they have a solid LinkedIn profile, making sure they have something nice to wear. We have a career closet where students can go, and if they need a last minute suit or an outfit, they can go there for that. So CDS is really there for that, and is one of the resources I was mentioning that are available to students, and proof that they don't have to do any of this on their own. So CDS is there for all of that from start to finish.
So how strong is the alumnus of NJIT?
Yeah, we have a really strong alumni network. We have alumni networking events that we go to that students are, definitely encouraged to attend. We have some alumni that actually I was speaking with someone from study group that an alumni of NJIT actually is I believe, I don't know if the owner or the principal of a university here. So we have a very strong presence all throughout the world, that NJIT students really go on to do some great things, and we want to make sure that current students have access to speaking with them.
So how early students should start applying?
Sure. So for the fall 2026 semester, the deadline for undergraduate students will be April 1st in order to apply for the fall 26 semester, and the deadline for master students is April 23rd. So obviously, don't wait until then. Please get your application in sooner, because the sooner we have it, the sooner we're able to get you your response, and you're able to start the whole process that you need to go through.
So the next question is, why is the right fit matters more than rankings alone?
Yeah, of course. So rankings, as we say, my team, we always say that rankings are important, but they're not everything. I like to think of them as kind of like an extra little, sprinkle on top. Maybe if you're, trying to maybe convince your parents or something like that, they're more interested in rankings. Something like being the number 80 public university or number 80 university in the US, number 40 public university. Those are kind of nice numbers to bring back. And of course, top 2% for return on investment. But those are not everything, right? So just making sure that the programs fit what you're looking for. And as you just mentioned, right fit is everything. So NJT isn't going to be for everyone, but it very well may be for students who are really looking for, a challenging STEM education that's going to provide them with the experiences that are available in that area.
So what is that one message that you want to give it to a student who is aspiring and who is interested to study their higher education abroad in general?
Right. I would say for students, kind of one piece of advice that I would give students would be do your research, right? Take a minute, right? Don't think of there's a lot of different voices that are going to be coming at you, whether it's fellow students, right, who have done this before or who are looking to do it as well. People that are going to be giving you a lot of ideas, maybe your parents, maybe your counselors, right? Really take a second and think about what it is that you want, where you want to be in the world, what you want to do with this education, and realize that those opportunities are available to you. You just have to kind of sift through a lot of different options, narrow that down, stay focused, and make sure that you are reaching out to people for assistance. You don't have to do it by yourself.
So, what are the eligibility criterias for a student to apply for NJIT?
Sure. So at the undergraduate level, we're looking for your high school transcripts, of course. We're looking for a GPA of about a 3.0 out of 4. We know that not all high schools use that scale, so we'll handle that on our end. One English proficiency test. We accept TOEFL, IELTS, Duolingo, and Pearson. And we would also, as I mentioned before, SAT is optional unless you're applying to the honors college. At the graduate level, again, we're looking for transcripts, all as complete as they can be. We accept if you've only gotten 3 or 4 years. We accept the 6 semester transcripts minimum. So please make sure you're sending as many as you have. One English proficiency test again, and GRE optional. For architecture students, anyone interested in that, we would also need a portfolio, kind of like 10 to 20 pieces of your most creative work, and one letter of recommendation.
So, how are the opportunities for PhD?
So we do have many, many PhD candidates every year. In terms of the funding for those programs, that's department based. So unfortunately, within the admissions office, we don't handle the funding for that, but it is possible to get full or partial funding for different PhD programs.
Uh, Erika, thank you for sharing all wonderful, valuable information about international education and STEM-related requirements for NJIT and opportunities in US for the students, and also for a clarity on how students should apply for admissions at NJIT, and also for a commitment to build a genuine connections, truly stand out that you are contributing to bring yourself to India and to get connected with the students to understand their interest in applying and their selection to the NJIT. Can you share something for students and parents for their inputs and everything?
Sure. So I'll go over here, talk to the students and the parents. So we are very much looking forward to speaking with you. If you have any questions for us in particular, we're always happy to talk with you and answer any questions you may have, to guide you in the right direction. Of course, we would love to see some applications towards NJIT. So if there's anything at all that we can do to assist, we're here for you. Thank you.
For the students who are watching this video or listening to this video, a key takeaway is start early, ask the right questions, and focus on finding the right fit rather than just casting over rankings. Uh, Universities like NJIT gives clarity, curiosity, and purpose for those qualities to make your life a difference in standing out with other students. As we wrap up today's episode, one thing is very clear: when students choose their higher education abroad, they should not only look for university rankings or the city that they are going. They should think of overall development, like their personal development, professional development, as well as the academics together.